Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter Rise, and today we're going to be talking about the new mounting mechanics, which is referred to in this title as Wyvern Riding, which is very much different from what we've had in the past. Now, as you guys know, mounting a monster usually involved you basically doing aerial attacks on it until eventually your character just kind of like magnetically jumps onto the monster, and then you get to attack the monster, and then you get a down phase. Now, for this particular title, it looks to me like they're trying to make mounting much more significant, because previous titles you can get anywhere from like 2 or 3 mounts up to like 6 mounts on the same monster during a hunt, depending on the skills that you bring to the table, on the weapon that you bring to the table, and how much you actually push for that mount. Well, from my impressions in this demo that I've been playing of Monster Hunter Rise, it seems like they're trying to make it much more meaningful and only allow to mount a monster probably once or twice per hunt. But again, as with everything that I will discuss in regards to this demo, all of this can be changed for the final game, but I don't see them allowing you to mount the monsters as often as you used to in previous titles, quite simply because mounting the monsters is like a really meaningful thing in this game, because like the name implies, you're actually riding the monster and you're able to actually control the monster and use it to inflict damage on other monsters. Now, multiplayer isn't really active as of the recording of this video, so I haven't been able to test in multiplayer if you're actually able to have like friendly battles with other players by, you know, engaging in a battle with 2 monsters, because that's almost like a fun little mini game that you would be able to do if they allow you to do that, which I don't know if you can or not, because so far I've only used it to attack hostile monsters, but it is a very impressive thing. But I know that you guys want to know about the mechanics and whatnot and how all of this works, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The way it's going to work for this game is, you can, from what I can tell, you can still get the mount off by just doing aerial damage on a monster. You'll notice that whenever you do aerial damage, either jumping from a ledge and hitting a monster or using insect clay, vaulting and doing aerial attacks, you'll notice that the damage numbers are blue, which is the same type of damage that you deal whenever you use a Silk Bind special attack. So for instance, for the Sword and Shield, this would be something like the Windmill attack, which has multiple hits. You'll notice that all of those have like a blue background to them. And it seems to me that these are the attacks that are triggering, eventually putting the monster in a mountable state. Now, assuming that you reach this threshold of damage, and the monster is in a mountable state, then you just have to attack it once, and your character will automatically jump on top of the monster and begin the mount or the Wyvern Riding, whatever you want to call it. Or if you have your weapon sheathed, you can just run up to the monster and press A, and your character will do the same thing and jump up on top of the monster. Now, once you're on top of the monster, you're going to have a couple of options of stuff that you can do. You can move the monster around. You guys are like, well, how long will you be able to move the monster around? Quite a while, actually. As a matter of fact, I was able to basically bring monsters all over the map. Like, I would go get a monster that was on one end of the map, and then I would mount that one, and then I could take him all the way to the opposite end of the map, and I would still have time to do a couple of attacks on the other monster, potentially even triggering the mounting, punishing state, or whatever it's called. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but basically you have a lot of time. So once you jump on top of the monster, you're going to want to hold the R button, and that will allow you to actually basically control the monster as if it was a mount. You can just use the left analog stick and just move wherever you want to go. Now, the monster doesn't have, I mean, depending on the monster that you are riding, because different monsters appear to have different values in terms of how much you can turn the monster. So it's not like you're going to be able to have just like super easy control of it. They do struggle with you a little bit. So think of it almost as if it's a driving game and your car doesn't have particularly good handling, so you have to turn quite in advance, okay? But yeah, you can basically drive the monster around the map and just, you know, go wherever you want and do whatever you want the monster. Now, you have options. So, like, if you just want to get it down on the monster, you can slam him into a wall. And the cool thing here is, you're actually able to slam him into a wall 3 times if you play your cards right. Because after you slam him into a wall, you can press the B button to kind of like regain your footing, and then you can slam him into another wall. And then you can press B again, and you can slam him into another wall. So you can do like a triple wall bang with a monster. And when you're done with the 3rd wall bang, usually your character will jump off the monster, and then he still is like stuck on the silk bind that you've used to mount on him. So he's still like a little bit staggering, a little bit slower than usual. You'll notice this because there's actually like strings of silk bind coming out of the monster, letting you know that he's still like in a state that you can still deal a significant amount of damage. And now you guys are probably wondering, so what happens if you slam a monster into another monster? Well, that's a very interesting question, because what happens is you put the other monster in a mountable state. So basically you slam one monster into another one, and then you can get off of the monster that you're on and jump onto the other one, and then continue doing mounted stuff, which is, it's really, really cool. And I know that probably there's some more traditional hunters out there that are like, what the hell is even this? Because yeah, this game is bringing some features that are a little bit out there. And let me tell you guys something else, like real quick. If you've played the demo, from what I've seen so far, I think we're not even scratching the surface in terms of mechanics that will be present in the actual final product. So I think that this bad boy still has a lot of legs and a lot of things to teach us, as you guys will see as we go through the other videos that I'm going to be making for Monster Hunter Rise ahead of its launch. But yeah, so you're able to do a triple wall bang, or you're able to slam the monster into another monster, which puts the other monster into a mounted state so that you can go and you can mount the other monster and continue doing stuff. So besides wall banging the monster and running around the map, what else can you do? You can actually attack with the monster, and it was so amazing the first time for me that I rode a Rathian and basically was able to get the Rathian to do her little loop attack while I was still mounted on her. Like, let me just tell you, there's nothing quite as special as something like that. Like seeing the signature move of a monster while you're riding it, and you're the one triggering that signature move that you've seen 1,000 times before. It is extremely satisfying. So you can attack you can attack other monsters using the monster that you're mounted in. And there is basically, you use the same buttons that you use to attack with your weapons. So in the case of the Switch controller, it's going to be X and A. And X is like your standard attack, and A is going to be like a stronger attack. And then you can also do directional inputs. This is according to what I've seen in the tutorial Wyvern Riding quest. But it's like, I don't know exactly all of the moves from all of the monsters. So depending on the monster that you are riding and depending on the inputs that you do, you're going to do different attacks. But very much like the weapons, you will eventually, when you get more practice with this, you will be able to predict exactly what the attacks are going to be. And now there's a little mini game to this as well. Just like there's a mini game to wall banging the monster, banging him into another monster, and then mounting the other one. There's mini games for everything. And with this one, the more damage you inflict onto the other monster, you can eventually trigger a mounting, I think the name is Mounting Punisher. You guys know I'm terrible at memorizing names of things, but basically you get to do a finisher attack, which is by pressing X and A simultaneously. But first you need to deal enough damage to the monster that you're attacking. And here's the thing. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to get on this monster, I'm going to spam buttons and boom, done. No, because the other monster is going to be attacking you as well. And there is a timer for how long you can be on top of the monster. And every time you get hit, that timer diminishes a little bit. So when you're doing this, you have to consider both your offensive capabilities as well as your defensive capabilities, because if the other monster hits you enough, he might knock you off because he runs out the clock on you, and then you won't be able to perform like a finishing blow, which is pretty powerful, and you will want to do that whenever possible because it does a ton of damage. And on top of it, it can also trigger further mounted states, which allow you to then mount the other monster again, slam him into walls, and, you know, repeat the cycle a little bit more. But like I said, despite all of these things, do keep in mind that mounts are not going to be as common. So like if I was trying with an insect glaive to spam mount a Rathian in the demo, and like I got the first mount real fast, but the second mount, like she was already limping and about to die by the time I got the second mount. So yeah, it takes quite a bit more effort, at least from what we have right now in the demo. I don't know if there will be, you know, skills that you'll be able to put that will allow you to mount faster, how that works, but they did say they didn't want it to mess too much with wire bug skills because they know that that's going to make stuff really powerful. But yeah, the new mounting mechanic, like, I'm not surprised that they kept it so close to the vest now that I've seen it, because it is extremely interesting. It is pretty much a brand new mechanic that is very different from the mounts that we've had in previous games, and it is a ton of fun. So when you install the demo, get out there and test this out for yourself and try to have some fun with it, because it is a blast. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit it up with a like. If you did not enjoy this video, hit it up with a dislike, because feedback is important. If you usually enjoy my content, subscribe, bell notification icon, and all of that stuff. And stay tuned to the channel, because there's going to be a lot more Monster Hunter Rise coverage as we go into my preview of the weapons based on what we've seen in the demo so far. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.